You're watching another episode of the Back to the Start of It All series, and in this one I'm going to show you the benefits that you can get with using Town Country Scenics Rust-it. So back in March I was at the Basingstoke Model Railway exhibition, and they had a stall there known as Squire's Model Craft Tools, who quite often have their stall set up at various model railway exhibitions. On their stall they were selling this, which is Town Country Scenics Rust-it. Now I've already had a go at using it on various things, one of them being this limpet wagon by Bachmann, and I was quite impressed with the actual results of it. Now it's an acrylic based product and comes in two pots of a orangey colour and a darker brown. What I like about this product is as it's a water based of products, it's easy to use, and you can get some really good results with it, and you also get the texture and the look of real corrosion. Now this limpet wagon, I've only applied Rust-it to the body sides, and I've airbrushed the rest of the weathering using some of the rail match colours, which I'll go into in a different video in the future of airbrush weathering. But for now I'm going to focus on doing some of my departmental wagons. So I've got this one that's already in Dutch livery, and like this one I'm going to create something similar to this, which is just another prototypical sort of wagon that you would have seen back in the 80s and 90s, all sort of beaten up and rusty, and but still showing its original livery. So as always, what I recommend with rust is to mix the tones up together, not to keep it all as one kind of shade, otherwise it looks too uniform. Now, as with all my sea cows, they will be eventually loaded with ballast loads, so I just tend to just go around the top edges enough so that the ballast will cover all the other areas. What I'll do with this is I'll go around it with the dark brown, then I will add some of the orange on top of this, just to add the variation. Now this takes probably 20 minutes to completely dry. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I get around doing all the outsides. Now I'm quite a fan of the slap it all on as heavy as possible and then take it all off technique, as I call it. So I'm not going to be shy with this. I'm going to actually give the whole thing a good coverage. And again, what I'm going to do is just, as I'm doing this, making sure you get up and underneath any sort of body side detail, and then just mix between the two as you're applying it, so you get that variation in different colours as you're going along. Again, with things like wagon numbers, the information plates, doesn't matter whether you give those a good covering as well. So something like that is what you're after. Again, just if you're not happy with something, just add a bit more orange or a bit more brown. Now, as the temperature outside is fairly warm, I've only allowed this up to about 5 minutes, as it's dry quite quickly. Now what I'm going to do, as you can see, I've also covered just inside these areas here, just using some acrylic thinners, and I use an angled cut brush for this method. You can then, should be able to rework back into this and then just start the process of streaking and removing what you've put on. What I like about this is you're in total control of how much you actually want to take off or leave on. And again, if you're just doing the streaks, make sure that you're keeping them vertical. So I'll go through this and come back and I'll show you the finished results of how that looks once it's all been taken off. So as you can see, I've taken the majority of it off, created a few various streaks and left some of the darker grey with a lot of the rust still sort of washed on there. Now another little tip with this as well is that you can actually use sponges for this. However, I'm going to use quite a wide beaten up brush just to create some depth of rust in the middle of the panels. Now I've just literally wiped off using the thinners what was applied in the first place, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a brush just to stipple create those sort of patches of rust beginning to break through the surface. Now you can obviously change around using the different colours again. And that just creates that sort of effect of the rust breaking through the grey paintwork. Now I've also worked on a couple of dogfish and the turbot wagon as well. And turbot wagon, slightly different method. I, rather than actually plaster the thing in it, I just used the stipple brush and just stippled the rust in various areas, quite heavy in various places, as you see there. That's quite thick, and then just allow it to dry, and then using a cotton bud dipped in the thinners, or just liven it back up and then create the streaks, and it leaves some of the thicker stuff still intact. So there we go. Really pleased with the product, and as you see, you get some really nice effects with it, and it's so simple to use compared to obviously the Humber weathering powders that I've used in the past and the varnishes, which can be kind of messy and take a bit of time to get used to using. This stuff seems so simple, and I've got to admit I highly recommend it, and will probably use it quite a lot in the future. For now, obviously these ones are going to be airbrush weathered. I will feature a video on airbrush weathering in the future, but also following on from this video, I will be producing a couple of others which will give you ideas of what to do for other sort of methods and techniques on top of Rust-it. So they'll be due up pretty soon, so keep an eye out for those. And what I'll do, if anyone's interested in where to get this from, I'll also leave the link for where I got it from down in the video description. So if you're interested in that, pop down, have a look, and then get yourself some of this. But For now, I'm going to leave the video there, and I will see you all again in the next one. Cheers for watching, thanks, and bye.